General Carthax, of the Velorian expansion fleet, had fought in 17 stellar campaigns. He had burned moons, shattered orbital rings, and accepted the surrender of species that still believed the stars were gods. Nothing in his long and decorated service had ever made his mandibles lock in place the way they did now. The bridge of the command dreadnought unbroken doctrine was silent, not the disciplined silence of trained officers, but the instinctive quiet of prey that senses a predator nearby. The sensor officer spoke again, voice tight. Unknown vessel emerging from fold space, trajectory steady, mass readings inconsistent. General Carthax did not turn. Define inconsistent, he ordered. The officer swallowed. It is far larger than the readings suggest it should be, General. That made Carthax finally look. The main display resolved into a dark silhouette against the starfield. Angular, brutal, asymmetrical, like a weapon designed by something that did not care about elegance. No broadcast beacons, no standard galactic transponder, no diplomatic heralds, just raw presence. Species identification, Carthax demanded. The tactical AI hesitated. A thing that should not happen. Closest match. Human confederacy, design language, probability 98%. The bridge erupted into overlapping voices. That's impossible. They are confined to Sol. They signed the accords. Carthax raised one claw and silence. Snapped back into place. Open a channel, he said. If they are humans, they will answer. The comms officer complied. Static crackled, then cleared. A human face filled the screen. Pale skin, dark eyes, hair pulled back, no smile, no diplomatic softness, just exhaustion and restrained fury. This is General Carthax, of the Velorian expansion fleet, Carthax said formally. You have entered a restricted war zone. Identify yourself and your intent. The human stared for a long moment, then spoke. General, the human said calmly. What's the spaceship? Carthax blinked. I do not understand the question. The human leaned closer to the camera, eyes cold. I said, what's the spaceship? The translator flagged. No error. Confusion rippled across the bridge. That is, the unbroken doctrine. Carthax replied cautiously. Flagship of the Third Expansion Armada. The human nodded slowly, as if confirming something unpleasant. Good, the human said. Then this message is for you specifically. The human's expression hardened. It's the human fleet, and we are not happy. The transmission cut. Every alarm on the bridge screamed at once. Space tore open, not with the elegant ripples of fold drives, but with violent fractures, like reality itself was being forced aside. Human ships emerged. 1, 10, hundreds. They were all different. Some massive, slab-sided behemoths bristling with weapons. Others lean and predatory, moving with unsettling purpose. None of them followed standard formation doctrine. They're ignoring hail frequencies. The comms officer shouted, they're not forming attack vectors. Another officer added. Confused, General Carthax felt something unfamiliar coil in his chest. Uncertainty. Raise shields, he ordered. All ships, defensive posture. The tactical display exploded with data. Human vessels were not targeting weapon systems, not engines, not shields. They were mapping, scanning crew density, life support, redundancies, escape pod locations. They're studying us, whispered the science officer. No, Carthax said slowly. They already studied us. The first human volley hit. Not energy weapons, not kinetic slugs, something else. Localized gravity distortions rippled across Velorian hulls. Decks twisted. Bulkheads screamed. Entire corridors collapsed inward, as if crushed by invisible hands. Structural failure on cruiser wing, medical decks compromised, life support dropping. Carthax slammed his claw into the command rail. Return fire. Velorian. Plasma lances burned through space. Several human ships vanished in white-hot explosions. The humans did not break formation. They did not retreat. They did not even slow. More ships emerged. More fractures in space. As if humanity had decided the laws of physics were optional today. A human transmission cut through the chaos. This is a warning. The same voice said, calm and deadly. You attacked a protected human research habitat 3 cycles ago. Carthax's blood ran cold. That habitat was unmarked. He snapped. It had children, the human replied, and medics, and people who trusted treaties. Another volley struck. This time, precision kinetic strikes. Every Velorian long-range weapon platform detonated simultaneously. You don't get to plead ignorance. The human continued. You don't get to surrender territory. You get to run. General Carthax had believed fear was weakness, something lesser species felt when facing inevitable conquest. He was wrong. Fear was clarity. Fear was understanding exactly how outmatched you were. Human ships punched through Velorian lines, not dogfighting, not maneuvering for advantage. They moved like executioners walking through a room of prisoners. Velorian crews abandoned posts. Escape pods launched blindly. Some were intercepted and gently nudged away from combat zones. They're letting survivors go, an officer said in disbelief. They want witnesses, Carthax realized. Another human transmission arrived, this time a different face, older, scarred, a general. You are General Carthax, the human said. I know your record. You pride yourself on efficiency. Carthax straightened. What do you want? We want you to understand. The human replied, we didn't come for conquest. We didn't come for resources. The human's eyes burned. We came because you heard our people, behind the human general. Feeds showed burning Velorian ships, methodically disabled, not destroyed unless they resisted. You see, the human continued, humans don't wage war the way you do. We don't fight to win territory. The human leaned forward. We fight to make sure it never happens again. Carthax felt his fleet dying around him. Years of doctrine, of expansion, philosophy, crumbling. What happens if we surrender? Carthax asked quietly. The human general was silent for a moment. Then you live, they said, and you remember. Another explosion rocked the unbroken doctrine. Power flickered. General, the tactical officer whispered, they're cutting a path straight toward us. Carthax closed his eyes. He had asked for war. Humanity had answered. The unbroken doctrine shuddered as human boarding torpedoes embedded themselves in its hull. Not breaching yet, just there. A message appeared on every Velorian display simultaneously. Simple, human text. Run. General Carthax stared at it. They're mocking us, an officer said bitterly. No, Carthax replied, voice hollow. They're giving us a chance. Human ships peeled away, opening a narrow corridor through the carnage, a clear escape vector. They're letting us go. Carthax laughed, a broken sound, because chasing us would be unnecessary. The Velorian fleet fled, warp drives screaming, ships limping, pride shattered. Behind them, human vessels did not pursue, they simply watched, as if ensuring the lesson was learned. Carthax looked back at the shrinking image of the human armada, their ships forming a silent wall between Velorian space and human worlds. For the first time, he understood the galaxy had misunderstood humanity. Months later, the Galactic Council chamber was packed. Species that had mocked humanity now listened. In fearful silence, General Carthax stood before them, scarred, demoted, alive. They asked one question. He said, General, what's the spaceship? Murmurs spread when we answered. Carthax continued. They knew exactly who we were, and exactly how much punishment we could endure. He met the eyes of the assembled leaders. If you ever see an unmarked ship, if it refuses your hails, his voice hardened. Pray it is not human, because if it is, and they are not happy, run.